welcome back to my garden. Today I'm working on a pretty exciting project for me. I love a good no-till bed, so that's what I'm working on today. We were actually heading to church this morning, and so my husband was driving his truck to church because he planned on getting it washed. I was driving separate, and I texted him and I said, wait, don't get your truck washed. I'm gonna go get some garden soil. So I just had the idea. Well, we were at church, we were halfway there already to the garden landscape supply place, and I thought today would be a good day to do this little garden bed that's behind me that I've been kind of thinking about doing for a while now. I have this view out of our kitchen window. I'll turn you around and show you where I'm looking. This window right there is our kitchen window, and that is our dining room window. And so I obviously spend a lot of time at those windows in those rooms so I can see out this space. And so gradually I've been planting in a few things. I have a maple tree. It's beautiful. I'm not remembering right now if it's an autumn glory, autumn blaze, October glory, what it's called. Anyway, then I have a red bud, and I have a forsythia that I planted in, and an Aphrodite sweet shrub that's just a baby, and a rhododendron. So anyway, it's just kind of getting started, but the grass is here still, and it grows up around it, and it's, you know, impossible to maintain when it's around these small shrubs. And then this time of the year, it basically totally dies off, and it looks terrible and all that. So I thought, well, maybe I kind of back up a couple steps and maybe dig out the shrubs. Obviously I can't dig out the trees. Dig out the shrubs and put down some cardboard and the, you know, good garden soil compost mix that I can get at our landscape supply place, and create a no-till bed, because then that's, you know, could potentially be better for the plants that are there, and then obviously easier for maintenance with the grass by preventing it from growing up in that space. So I went after church and I got a yard of the premium garden soil that they have there at the landscape supply company, and it's basically compost, soil, some bark chips, very fine ground bark chips. I'm not sure what else is in it, but I've used it before and it worked really well. So I got a yard of that, and then I mowed very, very, very far down, as far down as our lawnmower can go. I mowed the space that the cardboard will cover. That's not necessary to do, but the grass that we have comes up so like lumpy and stuff that it's really a rough surface. So I just wanted to get it down as low as I could so that I could potentially get the cardboard as flat as I could, which is my next step. So I did weed, I raked that all out. Usually I cut in the edge of the bed with a spade, or with an edging shovel. But the soil is honestly so hard in this space. It's very compacted. I'm not even sure I could actually do that. So I might try, but we'll see. So my next step is I'll probably try that. I'll probably try to edge it. But actually probably first what I'm going to have to do is maybe go get a few more rocks. So I'll turn you around and show you why that is. This could be honestly the trickiest part because I have to actually go find the rocks around the property somewhere. So let me show you why that is, that I think I may need a few more. Okay, so this area in the raised, or in the rock wall, as you can see, it kind of dips down here a little bit. So consequently, this is a slope. It's hard to tell how much of a slope. Maybe that helps. But anyway, in this situation, it would really cause probably a lot of runoff. It would make it hard for the soil to stay on the cardboard without sloughing off towards the rocks. So I think I'm just going to need to find maybe a few that will just raise this up just to the top at least of this one, to kind of create a straighter edge there. So I think I might know where I can find a few, but we'll go see. So after that, I'm going to have to see if I have enough cardboard, which, you know, ideally should be one of the first steps that you do before you start in on a project like this. I've been saving all of my gardening, you know, the plant the boxes that they send your plants home with you in, and I have a few other large ones that I can unfold. So that may prevent me from finishing this project today if I don't have enough cardboard. I'll have to go ask at some stores and stuff and see what I can find. But anyway, first things first, I gotta go find some rocks. That was a pretty good quick haul of rocks that I found just basically by the end of our driveway, where some trees had been limbed up and revealed these rocks. So I have another one right there that I'm gonna work on kind of filling in this space and see if I can raise up the edge of the area a little bit. Well, unfortunately, I can tell pretty easily that this is not going to be enough cardboard. So I'm just going to start laying it out and seeing how far it goes, starting in the area that I primarily want to focus on, and then pausing and seeing if I have to search out some more. Had to bring out my husband's big heavy duty tool because I couldn't even hardly get the edging shovel in to cut out the edge of the bed. So had to bring that heavy duty tool out, and it works great every time. I don't even know why I bother trying to use a shovel. So anyway, because the soil is pretty heavy in the back of the truck, I'm going to start unloading some of it onto the areas that I do have covered with cardboard. I don't have enough, but turns out my best friend has some down at her house. So I'm going to run down there after I get some of this, some of the soil unloaded, just to take weight off, the back end of the truck. So I'll get some of that unloaded, and then I will go get more of the cardboard. next day, I kind of forgot last night to finish up and show the progress of the day on this little no-till bed that we just put in yesterday. I got a call from my son who's down in Texas, and so we got sidetracked talking to him and all the things. So I realized this morning that I should probably show where we ended up yesterday so that you could keep track of, and I could keep track of the progress that we made and then see where we go from here. So I'll turn you around and show you what we accomplished. I'm standing up here at the top of the bed, basically. Right behind me is the boys' trampoline. And so the idea really with this bed was that I wanted to subdue the grass that grows up basically around this maple tree and about around the few other shrubs that I have planted here. It ended up going out a little further than I probably had envisioned, but it's just kind of the way the curve of the mower had set me off. So this is what we ended up with. So as you saw yesterday, we put down cardboard. I had to go pick up some more from our friend's house in the middle of the project, and then we were able to finish laying down this, it's called a Supreme Garden Soil that I get from a landscape supply company that's near our house. And I also built up just a little bit of a rock wall on this side, nothing too substantial, but the goal with that was to be able to keep the soil line basically level from these rocks over to that, because there's a forsythia planted right there, and I didn't want the soil level to be too high over there and then slope way down over here. So right now, as you can see, I have just a little sprinkler going, kind of just watering in, soaking in the soil so that it can kind of settle, and then also seep down into the cardboard to really get that to be settled down into its place, and that will help it to not shift as much if the dogs, you know, run over the garden bed. So you can see from right here, we have a red bud planted there. That little fir tree has to come out because we don't want a fir tree growing right there. There is an Aphrodite sweet shrub right there. Beyond it is just a small forsythia. It won't get very large. And then there is a rhododendron on the other side, and then this maple tree right here that I planted, I believe it was 2 years ago. I was intending on digging these shrubs out and then kind of replanting them in, but the way I was able to lay the soil on top of the cardboard, it didn't really bury them down very deep, although I do think I would like to move that rhododendron to be back here a ways, and then I have some nepeta that I'd like to plant in the front, and we'll just kind of go from there. I could actually plant directly into this soil mixture because it is aged compost and soil and, you know, some different good things to plant into. This is actually what I used in the no-till bed in my front yard, and the plants responded really well to it. So we'll see. I have a few things, you know, that are set aside that I'm just gonna go ahead and plant in here because I think they'll be happier here than they will be in their cans. But right now it was really just to get the grass covered and to get this bed started. So when I do plant, I will show you what I plant and just kind of keep you up to date on how this bed progresses from here. So thanks for hanging out with me yesterday through the whole process of getting the rocks and the cardboard and all the things. And I hope that this is helpful to you and you can see that it's actually really quite easy in the big scheme of things, putting this bed in compared to tilling up the soil and removing the grass and all that stuff. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.